Good morning. Happy Sunday. Good morning, good morning. Greetings from Purple Valley in Tenerife. Hi, Scott. Hi, Scott. What's good? Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. We're going to go live with Scott real quick here. Yes, if you accept. Hello, everyone. Let's just wave. Accept. I accepted. Scott, I'm trying to, yeah, there we go.
Is that it?
Hi.
Are we doing it? Are we doing it? Are we really doing it?
I can see you and doing good. How are you, Scott?
Perfect part of
Oh no. Yes. Okay. It's a
Tenerife.
yes. Yes. It's nice and warm here. Birds are singing. Sun is shining. Incense is burning. We're good to go.
Let's go. I was there about 3 weeks ago. It's such a gorgeous place.
Were you there 1 week?
I was there like at the beginning of March, so probably about 3 weeks ago, which was really
For
nice.
a week. For
yes,
a week.
just for a week.
Nice.
You're there for
And
3
now you're
weeks,
in
right?
Cologne. Yeah, 3 weeks. 2 weeks with Petri and one with Greg Nardi, which I'm really excited about.
That's a big few weeks.
I know. I'm settling in. So how are you, Scott? Now you're in Cologne.
I'm in Cologne. I'm finishing up a 5-day intensive, a Mysore intensive here at Ashtanga Yoga, and I was supposed to be flying back tomorrow, but there's a strike at the airport, so my flights got cancelled.
I heard about that. So you have a day for sightseeing.
So I have I'm not leaving till Wednesday. So I've got a couple of days to kind of just hang around in Cologne, do a bit of work. I've got some work to do. So.
There's a nice church there to visit.
Yes.
Isn't there?
We went there. I went there the other day. It's amazing. Like
Beautiful.
It's just. I shared some pictures. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, for a building, it is incredible. I mean, the church and everything, like the whole ethics around it. But as a kind of building, it's so impressive.
Architectural.
Architectural. You just stop and go. They spent some money here, So yeah.
So we decided just to have a little impromptu live because we're super excited. Petri's going to be joining us soon. We're in the middle of the brunch time here, so he's just getting the boys some breakfast, but he'll join in and share what he's going to be teaching. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. So we're just hopping here with Scott for just about 20 minutes or so just to chat. And about our first ever collaboration with you and ever collaboration in general. So we're super excited about that. It's going to be at our new yoga shala in Odeceixe village in the Algarve, Portugal, Yoga Roots Odeceixe. And so I really like the theme that you offered, which is a mindful approach to Ashtanga Yoga.
Yeah.
And so do you want to just chat a little bit about what that means to you?
Well, I've been the thing is, I've been using that title or that way of approach for as long as I can remember.
While really. Now.
Yeah. I mean, I've been probably teaching mindfulness for about 10 years. And then I think there was a point, it was interesting, there was a point around where I started practicing mindfulness more intensely, like I was doing with my Ashtanga practice. And then it was around about the same time that my colleague and my co-partner at Still Point, she passed away sadly in 2012, right at the beginning of 2012. So I set Still Point up in 2009 with Oscar, and we were best friends and we were colleagues. And then sadly in 2012 she passed away. And so what I had to do, I found that I needed to just navigate it was a really interesting time having to navigate the studio through grief. And what really helped me was I was needing something else, and I found some teachers and teachings of mindfulness, in particular certain teachers who really resonated with me at the time, and it was really helpful for me. And so I started really practicing and bringing the qualities and the techniques of mindfulness into my physical practice.
Beautiful.
And everything changed and nothing changed, right? It's this really beautiful kind of dichotomy.
I love that.
Everything changes, but nothing changes. You kind of like meet the practice, but with just putting a new lens. It's like you just take something out and you put a new lens in front. And quite quickly, that was really powerful for me.
Thank you so much for sharing, Scott. I didn't know that your studio partner passed away, and that was your entry point into mindfulness, and that you have had this experience with loss and grief, and that was what sort of opened the doors to mindfulness, so to speak. So I just want to honor that, and thank you for sharing that. Can I ask who the teachers were that you gravitated towards in your mindfulness practice that helped you return to your yoga and nothing really changed? You know what I mean? So
who I had two. I was already I had a teacher who I started to work with anyway, and her name was, I ended up doing my training with her. She is a really beautiful South African, she's now a doctor, so she's done a PhD, but she's a South African, a beautiful South African teacher called Kathy May Karalse.
Okay.
And she was the one, I remember having the conversations with you on our podcast about, she was taught me the one who started to teach me about my privilege. So at the same time as she was teaching me these incredible mindfulness practices, she was teaching me about my place within it, which was really powerful, because I had those kind of very reflective ways of seeing the world and my own understanding of myself, but also how these teachings drop. And she used a really beautiful expression. She was like, we're always just dropping in, of like being able to just, and I really love that idea about dropping into practice. And I thought to myself, well, what would I do if I dropped into my Ashtanga practice in a new way? And it was like that. And then at the same time, her work was really profound, which was kind of shaking up like the relatable nature of who I was or who I am in the world. And then there was a really beautiful teacher who also sadly passed away, called Michael Stone.
Yes, I remember Michael Stone's work. So I've read some of his books.
His work deeply impacted me and still does. If there's only one book, when I travel and teach, I always just take one book with me. I used to take loads, but his In a Tradition of Yoga is one which I always have just as a light reference if I need to draw on something.
Powerful, powerful author he was, and I really liked how he touched upon the ethics. I just remember his work on the first two limbs of yoga, and I just remember, it's been years now, almost a decade since I read his books, but just the ethics is what stands out to me. He had a very powerful voice.
The beautiful thing about the teachings of mindfulness, and I think this is kind of like where you come in, and like Petri as well, is we're kind of looking at the practice of yoga, or the thing that we do, and say, how does it engage with our life? How does it, rather than just think about this mat, what I'm doing now, what is the bigger context that it's showing me about the way that I live, or the way that I interact with this thing that I call my life? And so I think the beautiful thing which we got with this is kind of like what I really enjoyed moving my podcast to having conversations more like with mindfulness teachers and yoga teachers and people who think wider about how practices allows us to helps us live. It stops us, and you know, the Ashtanga yoga practice is really about the present moment. If you really stop, it's about that one breath. It's around how I navigate that one breath and that one movement, and then how I integrate the next one. And so there's a lot of layers of teaching that can actually come up right now if we're open to it.
No, I agree. And in that way, you know, it's always funny, you know, the marketing of yoga sometimes makes things redundant, and I myself included, I do it all the time. So I teach trauma-informed yoga when actually yoga is inherently trauma-informed. And so in that way, a mindful approach to Ashtanga yoga, it's kind of repeating itself. But I know why we need to do what we do. So it's not a blame on that, but it's just the invitation is really returning to that Ekam inhale, and how can we draw from what are essentially the dharmic faith traditions of India's rich past, and just the different ways and streams in which people try to, number one, reduce harm in themselves and when in relation to others, and number two, realize the knowledge of the self, whether it's through a soul or through shunyata, the emptiness. It's really so much within that tradition with which we draw from. For me, one thing I really like is that I always used to think that the way I was educated, the education system, the messaging I received was you need to get good and proficient and competent at one thing and one thing only, and only then will you be worthy of being respected as an expert, as a master at something. And that's really, I'm not taking anything away from somebody who really hones their craft and their skill. But I've always thought very laterally about things, and I see the intersections of things, and I see, oh, but this relates to that, and this relates to that. So in my mind, I'm holding several different things at the same time, which all feed into the project at hand, which is, self-knowledge, self-liberation, and how to, again, reduce harm in myself and others. So the fact that, I'm learning Tibetan Buddhist meditation with Lama Rod, that totally will inform and influence what I'm doing on the mat as I'm doing this Ashtanga yoga method. And I don't see the two being, it's not a problem in my mind and in my life. And
well, no,
so
it
I'm
isn't.
just,
yeah, you're absolutely right.
What I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. These things completely influence everything else. It's like, why can they not? Why can they like this? Now we forget the thing about that. What really helped me when I it really helped me at that time when Oscar left and I met Kathy May and I met Michael Stone, and it was like, what is it that we're really doing here? Like, what is it that we're really doing? Are we kind of like trying to educate in some far off time, hopefully feel better about ourselves? Or can we just stop right now and go, I'm alive. What does that feel like? What is it? How can I do the best with that? What can I learn? How can I enhance my nature with all of the things that surround it in a way that lands me now and goes, can this just be enough? And what can I do with that enoughness? And so it wasn't that kind of the teachings. This is also, I teach a lot on the Satipatthana, so the 4 foundations, which are just inherent in the nature of like the practice. We have a body and we're noticing the body. We have feelings, and we're
we have a
noticing
breath,
feelings.
we're noticing the breath.
And then we have teachings, and within all of that, it all exists. Your experience, the experience of myself,
so interesting?
my history, all of that thing. And I think it's really powerful when we look at that through that lens. What's
so interesting to me is how embodied and how much of the body is in mindfulness. Like somehow just the way it often seems is that it's happening here, but mindfulness actually is a bit deceiving. How much of this satipatthana you talk about, it's body. You are doing meditation with your body, and what could be like, that's so much the Ashtanga, what we're doing. We are meditating with our body in these asanas. So
but you're leaving nothing out.
Exactly. Yes, folks, you can ask questions, by the way. Just drop in questions for me, Scott, and we're waiting for Petri to join. But let's talk a little bit, Scott, about, I mean, we can chat and have conversations, Scott.
Yeah,
you're a
I
great
know. You know me,
conversationalist,
we could
but
just go off on
I know
some
you have
tangent
to
and still be
teach,
here.
and we have breakfast with the kids, and I have to start homework with
got
them
work
soon.
shop.
But so what is it that folks can expect at the workshop on in May when you come down in your afternoon section?
I mean, what's really important to convey, right, is when you get people who are working together, there's a reason for that, right? And so right from the beginning, the reason you, Petri, and I are working together is because we're coherent in the messaging and how we come across. There's a felt sense between the work that we're doing together. And I worked a couple of days with Petri and you last year in Tenerife, and what came out from that was something really lovely and engaging and inviting about what else can we do with this. So the invitation is that your people want to come and explore with like-minded teachers who have the same spirit and about the practice, about how we share it. But particularly in my with my workshop, and the way that I come across is like it's looking at it in the same way that you guys is, how can we use this in a way that enhances our ability to feel, to sense, to engage. It's not this thing where we kind of like, the practice is about opening us up. And what happens if we look at it we open up to with a new lens, if we open up to the discomforts that we have in our body with a new lens, if we open up to the sensations, the feelings that are there with a new lens. So I find all this week I've been teaching in Cologne is helping people to just be with what discomfort they have and what it means. And you're finding that people are able to move differently in relationship to pain, and move differently in relationship to the way that they're experiencing a pose. And so what we're doing is we're trying to see how we can get people to really consider what their practice is about for them. So when I think you and Petri talk about, I heard Petri talk about the practice a lot being about this idea of a personal therapy, and that's the invitation for people to come to see how, when we kind of put a lens of it on it with a certain way, looking at it with a certain openness, a spaciousness, a quality, what comes up. So my workshops are about encouraging a spacious awareness around the thing that we're doing already. What things get in the way, and what things can we just move through and move from.
Yeah, no, I love that. And the idea of a sequence, a set of poses that we do the same as everybody else. The idea of it being a personal therapy is powerful.
Yeah.
Is powerful, meaning that this is not something that your practice doesn't have to look the same as anyone else's. It doesn't have to look the same as yours 5 years ago.
Exactly.
So I just need to just touch on that, because, that's kind of the shadow side of a set of practices you repeat, day in, day out, year in, year out. It's that memory of like, oh, I used to do this pose and now I can't do it anymore. And what's the story I'm going to tell about myself, about my body, about my worth, and how is aging, how is, ableism, how is that all informing how I feel about myself in my body in this moment. So it's powerful. So I just need to touch it. So, hey, Rudrak, so good to see you. We're gonna walk and talk, because Petri, bless him, is busy with a brunch. So let's just come with me.
We want to
walk
see
with
the
me.
big man. I think that you're right. There is this real quality of we're trying to get people to come back to what's happening right now in the moment.
Exactly.
And explore and honor that.
And you know me, Scott, I'm all about the collective. So how is collective messaging informing how we feel about ourselves in the moment? And you can't really divorce yourself from the messaging we receive from society around what it means to get old, around what it means to put on, 10 pounds or whatever it may be. Exactly. So, hey, Petri is here. Say hi to Petri. Bless
Hello.
him. Good
Hello,
man.
good morning. Hello, Petri.
So,
How you doing?
Scott, he just got breakfast ready for the boys. And do you want to tell the folks about what your workshop is going to be?
The brunch for the whole family.
Oh, thank you. Oh, brunch for me too.
For you as well, Wambui. I
What's
wish
your
I was
workshop?
there. Have brunch too.
That's my workshop. Well, the subject for the whole week is the mindfulness, and like just Scott what is it? They made all that what is it? Plan.
Yeah, the theme, the topic, the theme.
For the. So I'm doing what I'm good with. I think is where I come from, the healing kind of culture, healing, folk healing, Finnish old traditional system, and so I will do that similar mindfulness work through the healing techniques and healing work and the asanas and quietness and how to focus for your kind of quiet inner self, I would say. Where's the divine inside?
Patanjali, you're using Patanjali.
Well, Patanjali's third chapter is my favorite. That's what we are doing. Is Patanjali's third chapter, the techniques in Ashtanga Yoga system.
I think what we're talking about. What are you going to be doing, Wambui?
I'm going to be, it was called Dharma for Our Times, or it is called, and I'm going to be looking at the 5 mindfulness trainings of Thich Nhat Hanh's Plum Village tradition and really apply it to like just the heavy hitting themes going on in our collective right now. So a lot to do with the collective. How does the collective inform our feeling in our body? And vice versa. How is the feeling in our body then in turn informing the collective, and how we might be able to show up for ourselves first and then others around us and then others further away from us in a way that, you know, is more loving and compassionate and courageous across lines of difference.
So I think there's something really beautiful going to come out from the 3 of us kind of just weaving a thread together. And then having the My Store mornings of like just being able to then implement and implant those kind of teachings, that shared experience, that shared lightness.
Yeah.
And drawing people through 6 days of just really shared, open, spacious practice.
Can't wait, Scott. Can't wait.
It's going to be amazing.
It's not it's the teaching, but also like being together in that place,
holding space
in that little beautiful village, going around, going to eat, going to
the next question, Scott.
Nepalese
we'll
restaurant.
take you to a nice Nepalese restaurant, and the next question is, are you going to come surfing with us?
Of course. Shall I bring my wetsuit?
Bring your wetsuit for sure.
Yeah, we have amazing people who practice Ashtanga and teach also.
Yeah.
Who's surfers.
I will definitely have a go. The last time I did it, I was in last year with my friend Jock in Cornwall, who's got an amazing shala, and he's amazing at it.
Nice.
And I enjoyed it, but I just kept getting so smashed up by the waves.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Give me
same.
Big board,
relatable content.
Waves.
I can tell that I'm doing mostly the bodyboarding, so I'm not going to those big waves. It's
I'll be with.
Which looks so dangerous. But the bodyboarding is amazing when you're on the wave, like 3 meters up, and like it's just beautiful.
Amazing. So we've got surfing, bodyboarding, mindfulness, energy healing,
Nepalese
Ashtanga
food,
yoga,
community,
space, community,
chai,
laughter,
garden. We have all the things. Okay, do you want to say bye to the folks? We'll wrap it up.
Yeah, thank you. I hope to see people there. Have a beautiful weekend. And Scott, yes, I'm looking forward.
It's going to be amazing.
Yes.
Okay. See you soon.
See you soon.
So, Scott, that was so cool. We're going to wrap it up now and go have brunch. But thank you so much for the conversation. I'm so excited to see you soon. Folks, please go to our website, petriandwambui.com, and just click on the workshop that is a mindful approach to Ashtanga Yoga. And yeah, please come visit us. Bring your energy. We are 3, just super passionate teachers that just want to share this spaciousness with you all as we create it for ourselves and each other.
For sure, that's it. Thank you, Wambui. Thanks for the opportunity for this lovely conversation.
Yes, and I wish you a nice stay in Cologne and hope you make it back home with ease.
Thank you, lovely. I've got a workshop in about half an hour and then I'm free.
Enjoy. Mwah. Bye. Take care. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining. Happy Sunday. Bye.
Happy, bye.